The call he couldn't ignore. The sun had barely touched the edge of the horizon when Keanu Reeves's phone began to buzz. He was in his garden, trimming a small bonsai tree, focused and quiet as always. The soft morning breeze played with his hair and birds sang in the distance. It should have been a peaceful start to his day. But that call changed everything. He looked at the screen. It was a private number. Normally, he wouldn't answer. But something in his chest told him to pick it up, a deep sense that something was off. He pressed the button and held the phone to his ear. Silence for a moment. Then a shaky voice came through. Is this Keanu Reeves? Yes, he answered gently. Please. I don't know who else to call, the woman sobbed. They took her. They took my baby. Her voice cracked with pain. Keanu's body tensed. Who are you? He asked calmly but firmly. What happened? My name is Layla. I was at Mercy Hills Hospital. I gave birth last night. They said my daughter died, but I heard her cry. I know she's alive, please. You have to believe me. Keanu felt a chill move through his spine. He had heard stories like this before, stories where the truth was buried under money and power. But something in Layla's voice told him this wasn't just a story, this was real and it was urgent. Where are you now? He asked. I'm hiding behind the hospital. I couldn't leave. They made me sign something. But I didn't. I ran. I'm coming, he said instantly. Stay hidden. Don't trust anyone. He hung up, already grabbing his coat. He didn't care that he had no details. He didn't need any. Someone was in pain. Someone had no voice. And for years, Keanu had made it a point to listen when others wouldn't. It took him only 25 minutes to reach Mercy Hills. The hospital looked normal from the outside. Clean walls, glass windows, soft music playing from a garden speaker. But there was a tension in the air. Too many security guards for such a calm place. Too many cameras moving too slowly, pretending not to watch. He parked across the street and walked toward the alley behind the hospital. The smell of old metal and flowers mixed strangely in the morning air. He found Layla behind a dumpster, knees pulled to her chest, arms wrapped around her, body like she was holding herself together. Her eyes widened when she saw him. You came? He crouched down. I said I would. She broke into tears and whispered, I know they lied. I know my baby's still in there. I heard her cry. Keanu nodded slowly. Start from the beginning. Tell me everything. Layla was only 22. She had no family left. Her husband had died in a car accident just 6 months earlier. She worked as a waitress in a roadside diner. Nothing special. No insurance. No power. Just a kind heart and a baby she had waited for her whole life. Everything was fine at first, she whispered. I was in labor for 9 hours. It was hard, but they said she was healthy. Then a nurse came in. Her face was cold. She looked right at me and said, your baby didn't make it. Just like that. No tears, no comfort. Keanu frowned. Did they let you see her? She shook her head. They said she was already taken to the morgue. I begged to hold her. Even if she couldn't finish. Keanu gently touched her shoulder. Then what happened? I stayed in the room for hours, crying. I heard footsteps in the hallway. Then, I heard a baby crying. Soft but clear. It wasn't far. It sounded like it was coming from the next room. Keanu's eyes narrowed. I got up, opened the door a little, and I saw her. They were wheeling her away in one of those bassinets. The nurse who told me she died was pushing it, and she was smiling. Smiling. Did you confront her? Layla shook her head. I froze. Then someone touched my shoulder. It was another nurse. She told me to go back to bed. When I refused, she called security. I ran. Climbed out the window in the bathroom. Keanu stood up slowly. We're going to find your daughter, but I need you to trust me. Layla looked up at him, her eyes filled with fear and hope. Why are you helping me? He gave a soft smile. Because too many people look the other way. I don't. Keanu entered the hospital alone. He wore a simple gray hoodie and jeans. Nothing flashy. Just another quiet visitor. He went straight to the information desk. The young woman behind the counter didn't recognize him at first. Can I help you? She asked, not looking up. Yes, he said politely. I'm looking for Dr. Elena Mason. I was told she's on the birth floor. The woman blinked and quickly straightened up. I'm sorry, sir, do you have an appointment? No, but it's urgent, personal. She hesitated, typing something into the computer. I don't see you listed. Keanu leaned in a little. Please, she knows me. Tell her Keanu is here. Her eyes widened and her fingers froze. Keanu Reeves? He nodded once. Okay, I'll page her. While waiting, Keanu quietly walked toward the elevator. He didn't go to the birth floor. Not yet. Instead, he stopped at the records room. He had noticed the security badge hanging around a janitor's neck earlier. As the man took a break, Keanu casually asked for the time and lightly tapped the badge with a pen from his pocket, small enough to copy the magnetic code. When he reached the records door, he used his phone to spoof the copied code. The door clicked open. Inside were shelves and digital logs. He moved fast, searching under Layla's name. He found it. Birth time, 3:42 a.m. Status, deceased infant. Not listed footprint file. Missing signed by Nurse Deborah Ellis. Took a photo with his phone and narrowed his eyes. Deborah Ellis. He would remember that name. Suddenly, he heard a voice outside the room. I'm telling you, someone's in there. He slipped behind a tall shelf, silent and still. Two nurses entered. One of them, tall, with sharp features and cold eyes, walked straight to Layla's file. She ran. We should have moved faster. You think she told anyone? The tall one, Deborah, hissed. Doesn't matter, she has nothing. And now, we might have a bigger problem. The other nurse glanced around nervously. Do you think he's really here? That actor? Who cares? Deborah said with a grin. Everyone has a price. Keanu stepped out quietly from behind the shelf. Not everyone. Both women jumped. Deborah's face turned pale. What are you doing in here? Keanu held up the phone. I know what you did, and I'm going to find the baby. She laughed. Do you really think anyone will believe? A celebrity playing detective? Keanu took a step closer. They will when I bring the truth to light. Outside, Layla waited, hidden behind trees, but her phone buzzed with a message. Stay low. We're getting close, I've got proof. Her hands trembled as she replied. Please hurry. She didn't know what was coming. None of them did, because Deborah wasn't just a nurse. She was working with someone much higher up. And they had plans for that baby, plans darker than anyone could have imagined. And now that Keanu was involved, the game was about to change. Behind the hospital walls, Keanu Reeves stood in the quiet records room, facing two nurses whose hands were no longer clean. He stared at Deborah Ellis, the woman who had told Layla her baby was dead. The air felt thick, with tension. You don't know what you're getting into, Deborah said, her voice shaking now, though she tried to hide it. Keanu didn't blink. You made a mother believe her child had died. I know exactly what I'm getting into. Deborah's face twitched. You think this is about her? You think you're the first to try and stop this? People bigger than you have walked away in a silence. Some never walked away at all. The other nurse looked at Keanu with fearful eyes, her voice barely a whisper. You should go. Keanu calmly walked past them and out the door, leaving them frozen. He had what he needed, proof that Layla's baby had not been registered, and a forged file declaring the infant deceased. Now he just needed to find out where the child had been taken. But there was one thing he didn't yet know. Someone had been watching him since the moment he arrived at the hospital. In the basement of Mercy Hills, beneath the clean white floors and welcoming signs, there was a door that only certain people had access to. It was guarded by a heavy lock and a quiet man in a Navy uniform who never spoke to anyone. Inside, the lights were dim, and in a private room, behind a glass wall, was a baby wrapped in a pink blanket. A small tag was tied to her ankle. No name, just a number. A woman in a white coat entered the room. Her name was Dr. Marlene Hess. She had sharp eyes and a calm, cold voice. She stared at the baby without smiling. "She's the one?" she asked a nurse. "Yes, ma'am. We told the mother she died." "Good. We have investors expecting results. Our donor is on his way." The nurse hesitated. "What if someone finds out?" Dr. Hess gave a slight smile. "No one ever finds out. Not until it's too late." Back above ground, Keanu met Layla behind a parked ambulance. She looked more worn out than before, but when he showed her the photo of the record, her eyes lit up with tears. "I knew it," she whispered. "I knew she was alive." Keanu nodded. "But there's more. The nurse who told you she was gone, she's hiding something, and I think someone even higher is involved." "What do we do now?" she asked. "We get into the lower floors," he said. "Places they don't show on tours." Layla looked around. "How?" "I have a friend," he said quietly. "She used to work for a federal agency. She owes me a favor." 45 minutes later, Keanu met with a woman named Nora under a nearby bridge. She was dressed in plain clothes, but her posture was sharp, alert. She had a laptop in one hand and a pack of tools in the other. "This hospital's got 3 sublevels," she said. "Officially, only 2 are used: storage and parking. But level 3 has no digital logs, it's off-grid." "What's down there?" Keanu asked. She shook her head. "Could be anything. Research, illegal operations, worse, the security's tight. Can you get us in?" "I can do better. I can give you access and blind the cameras for 10 minutes. Keanu nodded. "That's all I'll need." At 10:46 p.m., with Nora's help, Keanu and Layla entered the hospital through the emergency door. Layla wore a nurse's outfit borrowed from a laundry cart. Keanu moved with quiet confidence, following a blueprint Nora had printed. Out for him, every step felt heavier. Layla's heart raced. The thought of her baby, somewhere down below alone, confused, kept her from collapsing. They reached the basement access elevator. Keanu swiped a card Nora had encoded. The doors slid open. The air was colder down there, like the walls themselves were holding secrets. The hallway was dim, long, silent. Keanu led the way, flashlight off, using only the emergency signs to guide them. Suddenly, Layla grabbed his arm. "Do you hear that?" They both froze. A soft cry, a baby's cry. Not loud, not close, but real. Layla's eyes filled with tears. "That's her. I know it." They followed the sound, down another hallway, around a corner. Then, a door, metal, unmarked. Keanu tried. The handle, locked. He pulled out a tool Nora had given him and worked quietly. One click. Then another. The door creaked open. Inside was a room lined with metal shelves, strange medical equipment, and in the center, a crib. A small baby girl lay inside, wrapped in the same pink blanket Layla had described. Layla ran forward and scooped the baby into her arms. She sobbed into her daughter's hair, kissing her forehead over and over. Keanu stood watch, listening for footsteps. "We have to go," he said after a few seconds. But just as they turned to leave, a voice rang out. "Going somewhere?" Dr. Hess stood in the doorway. Behind her were 2 guards. Keanu stepped forward, placing himself between Layla and the doctor. "You're making a mistake," Dr. Hess said coolly. Keanu stared at her. "So did you. That baby doesn't belong to her anymore. She was signed. Oversold." "Sold?" Layla gasped. "You're lying." "Your name is on nothing," Dr. Hess said. "Legally, she doesn't exist." Keanu held up his phone. "I recorded everything." The doctor blinked. "You think that will save you?" "I think it will destroy you." The guards hesitated. One of them lowered his weapon just slightly. "You're not part of this," the guard said to Keanu. "Why risk your life?" Keanu looked at Layla holding her baby. "Because it's not about me. It's about what's right." A moment passed. Then the guard took a step back. "I'm not going to stop you," he muttered. "Go. Now." The other guard stayed frozen, unsure. Keanu didn't wait. He grabbed Layla's hand and led her through, the hallway moving fast. Behind them, alarms started to ring. Nora's voice came through a small earpiece Keanu wore. "They're on to you. I've triggered the emergency override. Elevator doors will stay open for 20 seconds. Move." They reached the elevator just in time. As they rose up through the floors, Layla wept, holding her daughter close. "I thought I lost her forever." Keanu touched the baby's hand gently. She was never lost. She just needed someone to fight for her. But up above, outside the hospital, black cars had begun to arrive. Someone powerful had just learned the baby was gone, and they weren't going to give up easily. Hunted in the night, the elevator doors opened to the first floor, and Keanu led Layla and her baby into the darkened hospital hallway. Alarms echoed through the building. Lights began flashing red and loud voices crackled through the intercom. Code red. All exits locked. Intruder alert. Layla clutched her baby tighter, fear in her eyes. "What do we do now?" Keanu took a breath, steady and calm. "We don't panic, we stay smart, and we keep moving." He led them down a back hallway where the emergency stairwell door stood ajar. He peeked inside, empty, perfect. As they ran down the steps, Layla's knees trembled. The baby stirred in her arms, letting out a soft cry. Keanu paused for a moment, checking above and below. "They'll seal the hospital in less than 5 minutes," he said. "But I parked across the street in the alley. Once we reach the ground floor, we head out through the laundry chute." "The laundry chute?" Layla blinked. He gave her a brief, warm smile. Not glamorous, but fast. In a surveillance room on the 3rd floor, Dr. Hess stood with her arms crossed, glaring at the screens. Beside her, a tall man in a dark suit stepped forward. "You said the child was secured," he said coldly. "She was," Dr. Hess snapped. "No one knew about sub-level 3, not even other staff." "And yet here we are," the man replied. "A high-profile actor breaks in, steals the asset, and now we're exposed. Do you realize what this means for the program?" "I'll handle it," she growled. He turned and walked away. "You'd better, or you'll disappear faster than that baby did." Downstairs, Keanu helped Layla climb into a large industrial laundry cart. He covered her and the baby with clean sheets and blankets to hide them from view. "Don't move," he whispered. "Don't make a sound, no matter what you hear." She nodded, tears in her eyes. Keanu wheeled the cart toward the loading dock. A guard passed him but didn't look closely. In the chaos of alarms and flashing lights, he just waved him through. Keanu pushed the cart through a narrow hallway and finally stopped beside a metal laundry chute leading outside. He pulled back the sheets. "Ready?" Layla looked nervous, but nodded. He helped her gently place the baby into her hoodie and secured her close to her chest. Then, one hand at a time, he guided her into the chute and lowered her down carefully. A few seconds later, she landed on soft laundry bags behind the hospital. Keanu slid down next, landing beside her. He helped her up and grabbed a duffel bag hidden under a nearby dumpster. Inside were 2 hats, a blanket, and a pair of tinted glasses, just enough to hide them for a short run to the car. They slipped into the alley. His black SUV was parked under a flickering streetlight. But as they crossed the street, a car screeched. "Around the corner." "Get in!" Keanu shouted. He yanked open the driver's door and started the engine. Layla jumped into the back seat, shielding her baby. Behind them, 2 men stepped out of the chasing car. Both held earpieces and wore black gloves. "That's him," one yelled. Keanu hit the gas. Tires squealed as the SUV darted forward, barely avoiding a trash bin. They tore through the narrow streets of the city, with the black car close behind. Layla gasped in the back seat. "They're still coming." Keanu swerved onto an empty freeway ramp. "I know, hold on." He pulled out his phone and hit a contact. "Nora," he said. "We've got a tail. Block their GPS now." Her voice came through instantly. "Copy that." 2 seconds later, the car behind them started to slow, confused. Then it turned sharply down another road, following a false signal. Keanu let out a breath. "We bought time, not much." 20 minutes later, they pulled into a quiet cabin in the woods. hidden behind tall pine trees. It belonged to a friend Keanu had helped years ago, a veteran who owed him everything. They stepped inside. The wooden walls felt warm, safe. Layla sank into the couch, holding her baby close. "We made it," she whispered. "We really made it." Keanu sat beside her. "For now, but we can't stay long. They'll trace everything." The baby made a soft cooing sound and looked up at her mother with bright, blinking eyes. Layla smiled, crying quietly. She has his eyes, her father's eyes. Keanu's heart ached. He placed a gentle hand on the child's head. "What's her name?" he asked softly. Layla paused, breathing in the moment. "Hope." Keanu smiled. "Perfect." But just then, his phone buzzed. A message from Nora. "We've got a problem. The doctor's gone public. She's telling the media the baby was kidnapped by you." Keanu showed the message to Layla. "They're flipping the story." Layla looked horrified. "But that's not true. They lied. They took her." "Truth doesn't matter to them," he said calmly. "Only power does." He stood and began to pace. "But we're not going to hide anymore. It's time people hear what really happened." By midnight, a plan was in motion. Keanu and Nora organized a press drop using a safe source, a retired journalist who trusted Keanu with his life. They sent him the baby's hospital records, the audio recording of Dr. Hess admitting the baby was sold, and security footage Nora had hacked from the lower levels. In less than 3 hours, the story exploded online. Actor Keanu Reeves accused of abducting child. Hospital records contradict official report. Woman claims hospital lied about baby's death. Says child was stolen for secret program. Security footage shows hidden level beneath Mercy Hills. Who is Dr. Hess? The internet lit up with reactions. People demanded answers. The hospital's social media went dark. And behind the scenes, powerful people panicked. In a private office in the city, the tall man in the suit slammed his fist against a table. "How did he get the footage?" His assistant stammered. "We don't know, sir. The system was supposed to be offline." "Find them. Now." Back at the cabin, Layla's baby slept peacefully, unaware of the storm outside. Keanu sat by the window, watching the trees sway in the wind. Nora joined him. "You really think this will be enough?" she asked. Keanu didn't answer right away. "Finally," he said, "the truth is a seed. Sometimes it just needs a little light to grow." She nodded. "I'm staying with her," Keanu said, "until she's safe." Nora placed a hand on his shoulder. "You always were the one who didn't run." But just as the first rays of morning light touched the sky, a red dot appeared on the floor near the window. Keanu saw it instantly. A sniper. Without a second thought, he pushed Nora down and ducked. Glass shattered. They were no longer just hunted. They were under attack. The cabin under fire. The bullet tore through the window, splintering wood and glass as it smashed into the far wall. Keanu rolled to the side, shielding Nora with his body. Layla screamed from the back room, clutching baby Hope tightly to her chest. Keanu's voice cut through the panic. "Get down! Everyone stay low!" Nora crawled toward a desk and yanked open a drawer, pulling out a small pistol wrapped in a cloth. "I thought you said this place was safe." "It was," Keanu muttered, peeking through a side window. "They must have followed the media trail. They're not hiding anymore." From the trees, he saw 2 dark figures moving swiftly. Both wore tactical gear, black masks, gloves, earpieces. This wasn't some gang. These were trained operatives. Layla crouched near the hallway, rocking her baby, whispering to calm her down. Keanu moved to her quickly. "You need to get to the safe room." "Safe room?" she asked. "This cabin has a storm shelter underground. They'll never find it." Nora helped move a small carpet, revealing a metal hatch under the floor. "Go now," Keanu said. "I'll hold them off." Layla hesitated. "But what if they won't," Keanu said. "Not while I'm breathing." She nodded, her eyes wide with fear, then climbed down into the shelter with her child. Nora followed, handing her the pistol. "Only use it if you must," Nora whispered. The hatch closed with a soft thud, and Keanu covered it with the carpet, again just as another round of gunfire shattered a side window. He ducked, then grabbed a heavy wooden chair and braced it against the door, but he knew that wouldn't hold long. They were coming fast, and they were ready to kill. Outside, the two masked operatives spoke into their radios. "Target inside. Confirm package still present." A voice crackled back, cold and firm. "Retrieve the asset. Eliminate witnesses." They moved in silent coordination, one heading toward the back door, the other circling toward the front. Keanu stayed near the shadows, holding a metal rod he had taken from the fireplace tools. He waited, listened, every muscle in his body tense, focused. Then, a footstep. He struck. The rod slammed into the attacker's wrist, knocking the weapon free. A punch to the ribs followed by a hard elbow to the head sent the man crashing into the wall. But the second one was faster. He burst through. The door tackled Keanu from behind and both men hit the floor hard. They rolled across the wood, grappling fiercely. Keanu blocked a blow and countered with a knee to the attacker's chest. But the man pulled a knife and slashed toward Keanu's arm. Just as the blade came down, a loud crack echoed through the room. Nora had returned. She fired once. The attacker dropped the knife and fell backward, stunned but alive. Keanu pulled the blade away and stood over him. "Who sent you?" he demanded. The man just stared back, blood at the corner of his mouth. "You'll find out soon enough," he said with a grin. Keanu tied him up with rope from the fireplace and dragged him into the bathroom, locking the door. "He's not talking," Keanu told Nora. "We need to move," she said. "Backup will be on the way. They won't stop until they have the child." Keanu opened the hatch. Layla looked up from the darkness, her baby in her arms. "We're leaving," he said. "Now." They drove west, far from the city, toward a remote safe house Nora knew, owned by an old contact who didn't ask questions. The baby slept peacefully in Layla's arms, unaware of the chaos surrounding her. Keanu sat in the passenger seat, eyes scanning the road. His body was bruised, his arm slightly cut, but his mind was sharper than ever. They didn't just want her gone, he said softly. They wanted her erased. Nora nodded. This wasn't just about money, this was about something much darker. "What do you mean?" Layla asked. Nora glanced in the rearview mirror. "There's a program, hidden under fake charities. They target young mothers with no support. They tell them their babies died. Then they take the children." Layla gasped. "For what?" Nora hesitated. "Testing, genetic trials. Private buyers." Layla shook her head in disbelief. How could anyone be so cruel? Keanu turned to her. Because power makes people forget what it means to be human. They reached the safe house by dawn. It was hidden deep, in a canyon, behind old stone walls and guarded by thick gates. Inside, an older man named Sam greeted them. He didn't ask why they were there. He just pointed them to clean rooms and hot food. Layla tucked Hope into a crib and sat beside her, never letting go of her tiny hand. Keanu stepped outside with Nora. "We need to take this to court," she said. "Go fully public. Expose everyone." Keanu shook his head. "They'll bury it. They've already started controlling the narrative. They're calling me a rogue actor. Layla's being painted as mentally unstable." "Then what's the plan?" "We need someone they can't ignore. Someone with real power." Nora thought for a moment. "There is someone. Judge Ramon, Calder. He's honest. Old school. Used to investigate child trafficking rings before they forced him into retirement. Can we reach him? He lives off-grid now. No phone. No address. Just rumors." Keanu looked at her with quiet determination. "Then we find him." While Nora gathered old contacts to trace the judge, Layla stayed at the safe house. She began to write down everything. Every detail of her pregnancy, every conversation with the hospital, every face she remembered. It was hard, painful, but she did it for her daughter, Hope. Her tiny fingers wrapped around Layla's thumb, as if reminding her to stay strong. One afternoon, while feeding the baby, Layla heard a noise outside the window. She peeked through the curtain. A black drone hovered in the sky, watching, then it zipped away. She ran to tell Keanu. "They found us again," he said grimly. "What now?" "We don't wait this time," he replied. "We go to them." Nora finally got a lead on Judge Calder. He was living in a small coastal town 3 hours away under a different name. His health was failing, but his mind was still sharp. Keanu took the trip alone. When he arrived, he found the judge sitting on a porch, staring at the ocean. "Mr. Reeves," the judge said without turning. "I was wondering when you'd find me." Keanu sat beside him. "We need your help." He handed him the files, the audio, the video. The judge's hands trembled as he read. "They said this was over," the judge whispered. "They told me it was shut down years ago." "It's not," Keanu said, "and now a baby girl is caught in the middle." The judge looked him in the eye. "I'm old, but not dead. Let's burn this thing to the ground." As the sun set behind the hills, back at the safe house, Layla held her baby and stared out. At the horizon, she didn't know what was coming next, but for the first time in weeks, she had hope. Real hope. And she had a man named Keanu Reeves who refused to let evil win. What none of them knew was that Dr. Hess had just met with someone even more dangerous, and he wanted that child back, no matter the cost. The courtroom. The judge's hands trembled as he signed the last page of the emergency court order. It was just before dawn. His old office, long unused, had been reopened for this moment. Keanu stood beside him, watching every word carefully. "This gives us just enough legal ground to protect the child," Judge Calder said. "But it also paints a target on all of us." Keanu nodded. "We've been targets since the moment Layla ran." "Then you need to move fast," the judge warned. "Serve this, get a hearing, and get the public watching. Once it's out there, they'll think twice." Outside, the first light touched the hills. Birds began to stir, but somewhere behind the beauty of the morning, evil forces were already preparing their next move. Back at the safe house, Layla stood over Baby Hope's crib. She hummed softly, brushing her daughter's cheek with trembling fingers. She hadn't slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the hospital, the white walls, the fake smile of Nurse Deborah, the cold voice of Dr. Hess. Keanu entered quietly and handed her the signed order. "What's this?" Layla asked. "Your daughter's official protection, signed by a judge who still believes in justice." Tears filled her eyes. "So she's safe now?" Keanu didn't answer right away. "Not yet. We still need to get to the courthouse and file this. Once it's on record, the world will know. They can't erase her anymore." Layla nodded. "Then let's do it." The plan was simple, but dangerous. Keanu, Nora, and Layla would drive straight to the courthouse under a decoy route. Nora had arranged a backup vehicle to draw attention elsewhere. The judge would meet them at the courthouse with a small legal team willing to risk their careers. As they packed the baby's things, Nora received a message. "Alert. Drones spotted near safehouse perimeter. Multiple unknowns approaching. 5 minutes max." Keanu grabbed the baby bag and turned to Layla. "We leave now." They rushed to the SUV. Keanu took the wheel, Nora in the passenger seat, and Layla held baby Hope in the back, her arms wrapped tight around her child. As they drove away, a black Jeep appeared behind them. Nora cursed. "They're not wasting time." Keanu pressed, harder on the gas. They sped through dirt roads, sharp turns, and narrow paths. The black Jeep stayed close, headlights flashing. "Hold on," Keanu said, taking a sharp right into a rocky path. The Jeep followed, but Nora triggered a preset device near the old mining road. A hidden steel gate slammed shut behind them, cutting off the chase. "That'll buy us 10 minutes, she said. Keanu didn't slow down. Every second mattered now. They reached the city by mid-morning. The courthouse stood tall, its steps clean and polished. But for the first time in years, the place felt like a battlefield. Protesters had already gathered. Some held signs reading "Justice for Layla," while others shouted questions at reporters.